Hi, I just wanted to make this one today to let you guys know why I harp on about food so much and additives that they add to our water and things that they get us to take. Because it's from the way I was brought up. Fluoride was never even heard of when I was growing up. I lived on a farm. We lived on a farm and we had tank water. So there was no such thing as town water with fluoride or anything like that in it. And like I said, toothpaste was a luxury, so we never really had toothpaste. We just used our toothbrushes. And also the food and the food that we got, you didn't go to the supermarket and get whatever you wanted. If we wanted fruit for tea, we had to go out the orchard and pick it, and Mum would have to peel it and clean it and cook it up in a pot and etc. There was no such thing as opening a tin of peaches or whatever. We had to go out and pick it. If we wanted gooseberries for tea, we had to go and pick the gooseberries, or when the blackberries come out or raspberries come out, we had to go and pick them. If we had peas for dinner, we had to go to the pea patch, and the pea patch wasn't just like a little patch out in the garden, it was half a bloody paddock. And we used to sit in amongst the pea patch and open the peas and stuff our face full of these beautiful juicy peas, and then we'd have to go home and pod them and so that they could be cooked up and everything. When the fruit trees were laden with fruit, we had to go and pick it, and Mum would make preserves, and that was just natural. In the pantry you had jars of preserves because they had to last you the year until the next year came around. Potatoes, we went and dug up our own potatoes. Dad grew our own potatoes. Meat, we had a sheep farm, so we'd kill the sheep, and we had 2 big freezers full of sheep. Dad would go duck shooting at duck season, so we had varieties of different food. Crayfish, we'd go for freshwater crayfishing and white baiting, etc. So when I look at today and all the additives in the food, and kids are so sick and people are so sick, I can understand why they add so much stuff to our food that's totally unnecessary. I was brought up without any of that. We didn't have a packet of flour. We had bins of flour because there was no going to the supermarket. And I also remember when Dad used to go to town, and we thought Invercargill was this huge city, and sometimes he would come back with bananas if they were in season. And it was just the hugest luxury to us to have bananas because it was something we never seen. And the other thing was we only ate fruit and vegetables that were in season, because like these days you go and get things, you get them all year round. Well, we only ever had foods that were in season. And I look at the jams, all the things that they put in food today, and I think how unlucky people are that they have to suffer that. And I'm lucky in the way that I cook a lot of my own food. I don't like buying packet foods, made up foods that have all these extra things in them. I've got potatoes growing out there, tomatoes, parsley, mint, squash, pumpkins. I grow all that out there myself. And even if you've got a piece of concrete, you can grow your own things on the piece of concrete because it's called a no-dig garden. So I think it's Esther Williams, I think she was, that's her name, made the first no-dig garden. All you do is you put down newspapers, hay, and you pile it up and up and up, and then you can grow stuff there. So there's no excuse really. And the other thing I was going to talk about is that food tastes so differently to me than when I was growing up. When I buy a carrot today and I eat a raw carrot, it tastes nothing like it used to when we used to dig up our own carrots. And strawberries don't taste the same. Tomatoes, I remember when I first grew my own tomatoes, when I was living in Sydney, and I gave them to my son. He didn't like them because they didn't taste like the tomatoes you got out of the supermarket. The tomatoes you get out of the supermarket are very hard, tasteless, not really juicy like a tomato that you would get out of the garden. And the other point was that, I wasn't brought up on fluoride or anything. My teeth, they're white as white, they're straight, not that straight's got anything to do with it, but they're white, there's nothing wrong with my teeth, and I never was brought up with fluoride. The other thing that was worrying me was that I looked up fluoride, because everything I've seen on here has been through other people's research. So I got hold of this, a tube of toothpaste, and I decided to read it and just look into it myself. Now, nowhere on this packet, this thing here, does it say anywhere not to swallow toothpaste. And it says on here the active ingredient is sodium fluoride, 0.22%. So I go to look it up, sodium fluoride, on Wikipedia. It says here sodium fluoride is classed as toxic by both inhalation and ingestion in high enough doses. It may be shown to affect the heart and circulatory system, and lethal doses for a 70-kilo human, so that's me, I'm about 70 kilos, is estimated to be 5 to 10 grams. This is 110 grams in here. So my problem here is, obviously I'm not going to swallow this but kids get hold of this stuff and it tastes nice and they're likely to eat this stuff. But what I don't understand is, why isn't it marked on this packet that it shouldn't be ingested? And the other active ingredient in here is triclosan. Let me just look that up 1 second. Let's see what that says. Triclosan. Okay, uses, health concerns. Reports suggest that triclosan combined with chlorine in tap water to form chloroform gas, which the United States Environment Protection Agency classify as a probable human carcinogen. So here we have two things in this tube that are bad for people, and yet every man and his dog has this stuff on their in their bathroom. And so I decided to go a little bit further, and I rang up Colgate and I asked them about it, and she said, well, you shouldn't leave this lying around anyway. The kids shouldn't be able to get hold of it. I said, it's toothpaste. You know, it's sitting in the bathroom. We don't have it up in the poison cupboards because it doesn't say on there. It doesn't say on this plastic tube anywhere that it's poison. So why on earth do they think that we would put it up in the poison cabinet? And she said, oh, I said, so if they eat a tube of this toothpaste, not to worry about it? And she said, no, all they'd probably get is a tummy ache. She actually got quite defensive with me when I started reading this stuff off the internet, and she kept changing the questions so that, oh, well, if you can, they don't actually ingest this. I said, well, I'm talking about kids here. Kids that tend to grab anything. Kids will eat lipstick. And I've mentioned that was because my son grabbed my tube of lipstick once and started munching on it when he was a little baby. Kids do that. That's what they do. Anything they can find goes in their mouth. Especially 1, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds that can climb up on things. So anyway, we got off the track here, and I better stop this because it'll never upload. My point was that the reason I worry about things is because I was brought up, foods were just foods. There was never additives and all this sort of stuff added to the foods. There was never this convenience. Go to the, you know, even made up packets of food that you buy these days have so many additives and MSG and thickeners and preservatives, and no wonder everybody's getting sick. Anyway, smile and have a nice day. I'll probably make a video soon that doesn't bitch about something. See ya.